Hello, welcome guys to another video from series Hobbyist, and in this video we are going to learn about 3D formatting in PowerPoint. So let's get started. Objects can be made into 3D object in PowerPoint, and we can get some cool effects like this where we have set up the bricks kind of effect, and these things are made up from 2D object only. So let's see how it's done. For that, first of all, we'll draw a 2D object, a rectangle in this case, and we can write something on it so that you can also know how the text is going to be changed when the object is made into 3D. To make this object 3D, we'll go to Format Shape, and under the Effect tab, we have 3D Format and 3D Rotation. So under these two tabs, we are going to get the properties that we require to change to make this object 3D. First of all, the important thing is the depth. Currently the object has no depth, so we are going to increase the depth of it, and we have the option to set the color of the depth also. So to distinguish from the base color blue, I'll be giving it some different color so that we can distinguish between the depth and the original color of the object. And I'll increase the depth size so that we can easily see how deep it's going to be, or how projected it's going to be. And for contour, I'll select a different color so we can see the contour. Actually, contour is nothing but the boundary of the object, and as the object is made into a 3D object, all the edges of the object will be this contour. So basically the wireframe structure that we obtain of a 3D object, that is basically a contour. And we have some other properties. We can give material, and we can set the lighting falling on the object, but we'll discuss this in a due course of time. Before that, we need to make this object into a 3D object, and PowerPoint gives us some presets of the 3D object. Presets are basically classified into two types: parallel or orthographic presets and perspective. Mostly in real life we see everything in perspective, but something very far away from us, when the focal length is too large, we see objects in a parallel view. So that's also very important. So first of all, we select some parallel preset so that we can get the feeling of 3D, and by selecting that, we just got a 3D object. And I'll just copy it so I can parallelly show you the perspective effect of it. So from the presets, I'll be selecting some perspective effect. So you can easily see the difference between these two. The above one is parallel and the bottom one is perspective. And mostly we see things like this only. And now here comes the other properties that we are going to tweak as we want the object to be lying in a scene, depending on our scene. And we can rotate this object from these three axes given to us. The most important things that people sometimes get messed up with these things is we need to understand these axes. X rotation is a vertical axis, and Y is a horizontal axis. As you can see, if I rotate the object about X axis, it's rotating about the axis that I've drawn, a vertical axis, while the Y axis is something horizontal. So I'll make X 0 so you can realize how Y is drawn in the plane. Basically, Y is a horizontal axis, but we need to understand that these axes are the global axis. These are not the local axis of the object. So if I rotate it about the Y axis, it's rotating perfectly fine because we have the X rotation 0. But when we do combination of these two, it becomes complicated. Okay, so right now if I change the X axis, make this Y 0 again, and combination of these two, I'll rotate a Y a bit more. Now we might confuse that Y axis has also changed and it has become like this, but no, it has not. The Y axis right now is a local axis of the object, but as I told you, these Y axis are the global axis and it has not changed. So now when we make changes to Y rotation, it rotates about the Y global axis, and generally it's not convenient us to draw objects like this because we generally think objects in their local axes. So this is how we need to understand the axis. And z-axis is a simple rotation of the object, an axis coming out of the screen perpendicular right of the screen, so it just rotates the object. But when you look at the perspective objects, we have this perspective options highlighted, enabled, so we can change the perspective view. It's basically changing the focal length of a camera. So lower the degree is going towards parallel view, and as we increase the degree, we are kind of reducing the focal length. So this is a basic difference between parallel and perspective view. And in addition to that, we can set material of the object, and PowerPoint has few materials: matte, glossy finish, transparent, translucent, wireframe. For example, wireframe just leaves the contour of the object, and as I told, contour is something all the edges of the object. And we can set the lights also. We have 2-point light, soft light, hard light, and as you can see, we have selected the red color for the depth, but we have some kind of differentiated color on the object. One is darker and one is lighter because one is affected by the shadow, and as I rotate the angle of the light, we can see the difference. The other one is getting darker and the previous one is getting lighter. So basically, because the other one comes under the darkness, it's under the shadow. So these are the basic all the effects that we have here. We can keep the text flat by selecting this checkbox, but it doesn't look realistic, or we don't need it most of the time, so leave it. And distance from the ground is the distance of the object from the ground, but this effect comes to the picture when we have the shadow of the object. Right now we have none, so I'm just going to set it to 0. These 3D effects can be used to blend objects, to keep objects in some environment. Like here, I've taken a scene in which the light is falling from the left side of the scene, and I have placed few rectangles and I have made them into 3D, and I have created a shadow on the road, so it looks really nice and realistic. And I've also set the lighting on the object such that we have the darker side on the part from where light is not falling, and the other sides are kept brightly lit. And in the same way, I have created this text. This was a 2D text, and I've created it into a 3D and applied the same lighting effects on it. So basically, these things are used to blend your objects into a scene. And for example, in this scene, I have written a text which looks like it's kept on the road for some reasons, because the objects in the image, I have made their shadow fall on the text, and some image are appearing on the top of the text so that it really blends into it. Also, the shadow of the bridge is falling on the two texts, and I've changed the lighting of those so that it looks like they are really under the shadow. Sometimes you can create many different things. For example, in this photo, I have used the grid line available to me from the tiles of the floor so that I can create the exact perspective of the objects. So all the 4 objects here I have kept looks like they're really on the floor. So that's how you can use the lines, tiles to use as the exact perspective. And these are the basic use of it. So I hope you enjoy the video, and please subscribe for more such videos which are coming soon. And thanks for watching.